Hello, my name is Nigel Fang, and this is my final project for ELA B30. Summary of Learning. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is the poem Identity. The poem Identity relates directly to the theme Sense of Self, finding who you are and being free from social norms. The poem relates to flowers and the fact that flowers are always trapped inside of a pot. The narrator would rather be a weed on the cliffside of a mountain. Although ugly, the narrator would be free and not confined to one place. Sense of self is prominent within this poem. Instead of fitting in with others, search for who you truly are and be free like an eagle. The next text I'm going to talk about is Shooting an Elephant. The story Shooting an Elephant is very similar to the poem Identity. It has the same theme, sense of self. However, in this story, the main character is closer to a flower inside a pot than a weed on the cliffside. The man in this story does not want to shoot the elephant, but the locals in the area peer pressure the man into shooting the animal. He eventually shoots the elephant, yet immediately regrets his actions afterwards. He becomes conflicted and upset about what just occurred. This short story teaches us to be ourselves and not follow societal norms. Don't fall into peer pressure and lose your sense of self. Now we're going to talk about the documentary, A Life on Our Planet. The documentary by David Attenborough relates directly to two major themes, fear and joy. The film's key message is that our planet, which has been stable and thriving thanks to the delicate cycles, has been starting to deteriorate due to mankind. Attenborough discusses the outcomes of what would happen if we continued our regular way of life. He stresses that our global population is out of control. Our Earth is warming, coral reefs are dying, and our wildlife population has halved since David Attenborough's birth. He uses fear to open up the eyes of his viewers and explain to them the urgency of our situation. However, near the end of the documentary, he gives solutions and joy to these issues. He says to stabilize global population, shift to renewable energy, restore biodiversity, and end deforestation. The next text I'm going to talk about is the story, The Great Gatsby. The biggest theme throughout The Great Gatsby was power. Jay Gatsby was poor and never had anything growing up. Eventually, he found Daisy, a girl with higher social class, and enjoyed the lavish lifestyle. To live that lifestyle, Daisy left Gatsby in favor of Tom Buchanan, a man already with high social status and a lot of money. Gatsby, being blinded by love, pursued any way possible to achieve Daisy's requirements, even if it meant by illegal means. Gatsby's power was prevalent throughout the story as he threw lavish parties in hopes to attract Daisy. However, Gatsby still lacked social status and Tom was much higher in social status. Therefore, when Daisy accidentally hit Myrtle with Gatsby's car, Tom used his status and prestige to manipulate George into believing that Gatsby killed Myrtle. George became enraged and killed Gatsby along with himself. This shows that power is everything. It's so strong that not even love can overcome money and status. The lessons I took from Gatsby is not to be blinded by love, and back in the 1900s, money was everything. My novel study is called I Was Dr. Mengel's Assistant. It's a memoir written by Dr. Miklos Nilizri, who recounts the atrocities that occurred due to the hands of Dr. Mengel within the Auschwitz concentration camp. The book recalls a first-hand experience of the horrors of Auschwitz and the terrible experiments Mengele would perform. A major theme relating to the social experience is dealing with universal issues. Mengele pursued longer life, human research, and increasing the pure Aryan race. These issues turned into an obsession for Dr. Mengele as he became less human and more of a monster. The novel teaches us not to repeat the past and avoid mistakes so we can carve a better future. This novel could also relate to David Attenborough's Our Planet. Instead of ruining the Earth now, why not avoid the mistake entirely? Now we have the story Hamlet. Hamlet is a story that revolves around the theme of revenge and power. Hamlet's uncle seeks the throne all for himself, therefore, he kills his brother and becomes king. Hamlet is consumed by grief and seeks vengeance for his father's death. He vows to get revenge on his father and won't let anything get in his way. In pursuing revenge, everyone gets caught in the crossfire, and all the characters receive a devastating death. The story teaches us the destructive actions of revenge and striving for power. Mindless revenge is never the answer. And finally, last but not least, we have the novel The Lord of the Flies. The Lord of the Flies has major themes that include ambition, power, and the common good. The boy's ambition was to get off the island and work toward the common good of being rescued. In the beginning of the story, all the boys vote Ralph as the leader and follow his instructions while working peacefully together. Everything is in harmony, working like a well-oiled machine. But as the story progresses, Jack becomes power hungry and seeks power. Very similar to Hamlet, everything in his wake for power becomes destroyed. The boys become savages and end up killing one another as the island becomes a living hell. Just like Hamlet, this story teaches us the destructive actions of the thirst for power. Thank you for listening to my Summary of Learning final project, ELA B30, and thank you to Miss Mackey for teaching me in my grade 12 year. Adios.